Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a really fascinating gap in modern platform economics. We're talking about a massive, literally untapped digital marketplace opportunity. If you've ever felt that the digital tools actually meant to empower creators are somehow, inexplicably holding them back instead, well, you definitely aren't alone. We're going to break down exactly where the current massive platforms fall short and lay out the blueprint for the exact gap that's just waiting to be filled. Let's jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this. Why do the biggest art platforms on Earth leave their creators totally stranded? I mean, it sounds totally counterintuitive, right? We live in this hyper-connected world, but for a very specific class of artists, the landscape is just a mess. It's like a giant puzzle where none of the pieces actually fit. They're forced to manually stitch together these flawed platforms that were never even designed to talk to each other, just to survive. So we have to ask, what is structurally broken here?
Section 1. The Creator's Trilemma. Let's look at the missing core.
To really grasp the problem, it all comes down to a missing core, and it's built on a classic rule of three: trust, workflow, and demand. If you take away only one single thing from the first half of this explainer, please let it be this. There is no platform on the market right now that solves all three of these pillars simultaneously. None. And the kicker is, missing even one of these forces the creator right back into that painful, endless cycle of manually stacking broken tools.
Moving on to Section 2. Why Current Giants Fail. A brutal synthesis of the landscape.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is mapping out the actual limitations of the giants we all know. Take Etsy, for example. Etsy brings the demand, for sure, millions of buyers, but it has a fundamentally low trust ceiling, right? Then you have Instagram. Fantastic for building a personal connection, but the actual transaction process, it's usually a chaotic nightmare lost in the DMs. Artsy has immense trust, but it's totally inaccessible to niche creators. Orthodox networks, they're completely closed off. And a personal site gives you all the control in the world, but absolutely zero organic traffic. Every single option out there forces you into a massive compromise. And this brings us to a really stark realization. We have got to distinguish between mere platforms and actual solutions. Right now, creators only have distribution tools. Because they lack that magic trio we talked about, trust, workflow, and demand, creators are stuck doing this manual stacking. Think about it. You're funneling people from an Instagram post to a chaotic inbox, then sending an invoice through some random third-party app and just crossing your fingers and praying it all holds together. It creates incredible friction for everyone involved. Section 3. The Sacred Art Opportunity. Let's talk about the real gap. So, with all that context, what is the market actually missing? If we take all those intense pain points, the low trust ceilings, the chaotic, duct-taped workflows, what would a true, absolutely uncompromised solution look like for a high-trust niche? Because, let's be clear, we aren't looking to build a slightly better Etsy. We are looking for something structurally, fundamentally different.
Well, here is the highly targeted solution. A commission-first platform built specifically for sacred art. That is the blueprint. And surprisingly, actually, maybe shockingly, the data tells us this exactly designed platform simply does not exist yet. We aren't talking about hawking mass-produced prints here. We are talking about an ecosystem engineered entirely from the ground up for high-value, deeply personal, commission-first transactions.
And this brilliantly illustrates why this specific niche is so incredibly powerful. Think about the timeline of these commissions in someone's life. We're going from baptism to marriage and finally to death. Sacred art is never an impulse purchase. These pieces are commissioned to mark the most profound, emotionally weighted milestones of a human life. When a platform can actually secure trust and a smooth workflow for these specific, sensitive moments, the lifetime value of that customer is immense. You're serving people at their absolute peak need for authenticity. But to capture that entire life cycle, the platform needs very specific features that the current giants totally lack. A true solution requires built-in theological guardrails. It needs a structured icon configuration so that the buyer and the artist are perfectly aligned from day one. It requires a dedicated network connecting clergy and artists, and above all else, high-trust verification. Contrast these incredibly high-stakes requirements with the chaotic, Wild West nature of an Instagram DM, and you immediately see why the current tools are failing so dramatically. Which brings us to our final section, Section 4, Winning the Niche, the bottom line. So the crucial point is that the winning formula here is actually quite simple. The entity that successfully unites these three elements, solving trust, workflow, and audience alignment, will absolutely win this niche, hands down.
It's no longer about just building another distribution tool to throw on the pile. It's about creating an end-to-end solution that removes that awful manual stacking entirely, offering a totally seamless environment from the moment of commission right through to delivery. I want to leave you with this final, really provocative thought to chew on. Platforms are distribution tools, not solutions. Whoever builds this wins. The blueprint is laid out right in front of us. The demand spans the literal entirety of the human life cycle. The only question left is, who is actually going to step up, abandon the fragmented, broken tools of the past, and claim this massive, untapped opportunity? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and I will catch you next time.